Welcome to the studio here at African Utility Week in Power in Africa. Today we're joined by Power Africa, and Andrew's going to talk about powering Africa's economy. Welcome, Andrew.
Great, thank you very much.
Andrew, give us an update on how Power Africa's mission has changed since its inception.
Yeah. So Power Africa was launched here in Cape Town 6 years ago by the US government. This is an initiative that involves 160 partners that the US Agency for International Development coordinates. We have over $56 billion of commitments, but more importantly, we've helped 121 power generation projects across all technologies reach financial close. And those 121 projects are worth over $20 billion, so that's real money that's been flowing. But what's changed is that we're seeing that we have to keep up with that new supply, which means that we need to make sure that we focus more on transmission infrastructure, power trading, and distribution, because you still have 600 million people who don't have access to electricity.
So that need for a reliable supply is motivating innovation.
Yeah, it's not just a need for a reliable supply, it's a need for the supply. It's also for countries to figure out that it doesn't always make sense for them to produce their own power when you could have interconnectors where one country may have a competitive advantage. When we look at what's happening in South Africa, in Mozambique with gas finds there, and then you look at in Southern Africa with Namibia and Botswana, the tremendous solar potential, the decline in battery prices. The whole market is completely dynamic, and people need to stop trying to plan it too much, because it's almost like buying into the stock market. You never know which technology is going to be the one that takes off. So you have to have a diverse portfolio trading amongst all the countries.
So this disruptive technology is really enabling the change.
Absolutely. I mean, we see what's happening now with battery technology, battery storage technology. It's very similar to what happened with solar technology. Solar technology, solar prices have declined by 400 or 500% over the last few years. It's been estimated that battery storage prices will decline by 30% just in a few months this year. So as that scales up, that's going to be disruptive as well. And countries will have a lot of different options and very well-priced options. When Power Africa first was launched, it was pretty typical for a country to sign a power purchasing agreement for over 20 cents per kilowatt hour. Now it's very difficult for anyone to justify one for over 10 cents a kilowatt hour.
So digitization is really driving and being the enabler for this change. How is that changing business models?
So it's digitization, it's just simply the technology, the improvements in the technology, lower costs, growing at scale. One of the things that we've seen, Power Africa has launched a partnership with MasterCard to work in refugee communities where we're trying to test microgrids using advanced payment technologies to see if we can get greater efficiency so that people can have access to basic services in a way that the private sector is providing the services and it's not governments that are providing them.
Time to look in your crystal ball. What do you see in the next 5 years changing the landscape in Africa?
So a couple of key things. One, we have to wait and see what happens with this major gas find off the coast of South Africa, because that's a game changer. For years we've talked about the gas in Mozambique, but when South Africa has its own domestic gas, that's going to change things not just from an electrification standpoint, but from an industrial standpoint. Potential for fertilizers, plastics, other, creating whole new industries. We're going to look at what happens with the prices of battery technology. Suddenly, large-scale PV, solar, will become very, very cost competitive. It already is. We saw prices come in at 4 cents per kilowatt hour on a recent bid in Zambia. As those prices continue to decline with storage, it's going to be a game changer as well. But what's key is that the countries need to really enhance their trading so that they can take advantage of the costs that they're going to be, the cost savings that they're going to be able to achieve.
Very insightful. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Be sure to subscribe to our channel now for more industry-related content. Thanks for joining us.